Hello and welcome to another exciting podcast. It's been a while. Been a couple of months. So before we get into it, feeling a little rushed, but before we get into it, I just want to first say, obviously I have with me my podcast partner as always, Ray Hayes. But Ray, I think everybody, all of our followers and listeners, really appreciate all the podcasts you've been doing for the past couple of months ish. So appreciate that level of support and definitely, if you have time, check out those videos. Uh, one of the ones that I was really interested in that you did was the Brown University replacing student loans with scholarships.
Uh,
Yeah, that was I think that's
yeah.
also the
What did you
most.
think about that?
Um, I love the idea, right? You can't love who doesn't love the idea of no student loans, right? Uh,
Right.
but at the same time, it's just one of those. How is it going to work long term? That's all. Uh,
Hmm.
but I do think that the idea obviously is something that I believe we can all get behind. But whenever somebody just offers you free money for everybody, there's always the question of what comes along with this.
I mean,
How do you make this work?
they're they're still expecting. They're doing a fundraising campaign where they're asking money from donors, and I'm sure alumni as well. They're trying to raise, I believe it's $500 million, and that would cover the scholarships. I'm not for sure how long, but it would cover the scholarships for more than at least 5 years, though.
Yeah, that'll get one class, one or two classes in, which is pretty good. Um,
Yeah, and then if, think about it, you get those one or two classes in, right? Those alumni will most likely contribute to that alumni. I mean, I'm not alumni, but the scholarship fund, because that fund got some of them through school. And why not help your fellow students?
yeah, the next generation. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, that's interesting. I know it's always been a little bit of a touchy subject because some people do feel as if you need to pay for college in order to appreciate it. So
Mhm.
yeah, there is that barrier of selling,
Yeah,
but and again
I
that's
disagree with that.
well yeah I understand where you're coming from, but we're both in agreement on the fact that there are people out there who are like
Yeah,
you need to
definitely.
be
Yeah,
okay yep. So yeah,
yeah.
that's again that was just my point in terms of like how is this actually going to work. If you can get enough support for that, then for sure I think again I think it's a great idea, but again, when you got an idea like something like this that's this big and monumental, I'm always a little bit like, can this actually work? But maybe this year when they first started out, maybe it's we cover 25% of your student loans.
Right,
And
right.
maybe fifty
And that's
percent.
another thing. Something else I brought up in the podcast is that, like, people cannot expect all schools to follow this plan
Yeah, absolutely.
because they don't have the donors,
Yep.
and alumni are not giving back as much as they do at Ivy League institutions.
Yeah, no,
So I mean,
that's
no
true.
offense to HBCUs, but a lot of them cannot expect this because they don't have the donors. They don't have the donors at all.
No, I completely agree. Just a quick question as we go into the topic today, but uh,
Yeah, right.
how much money do you think Morehouse alumni would be willing to donate to a cause like this? Now, I don't think we would need 500 million, but can you give a just a quick estimate on how much money you think Morehouse could raise if they went and did something like this?
Roughly, maybe uh, possibly 2, 3 million.
I think only 2, 3 million.
Yeah,
I think it'd be more. Honestly, I think it'd be in the teens.
I
I think it'd be in the teens. I'll be
because
honest.
if that was the case, if you had alumni giving back that much in the teens, then why aren't they doing it now?
Now remember remember when we're not gonna get too into it, but remember one of the big issues that some alumni had was that they didn't have full control over where their money was going.
Right. So who's going to, okay, let's say this, okay, Morehouse office, okay, if you give us this money, it's going to go to a scholarship fund.
Right.
But the rest of it,
for people who to cut down on people's student loans, I think you get support for that in the teens.
Yeah, I think you would definitely get support, but it's a matter about reaching out to alumni and getting that message across to everyone.
Yeah,
and saying, hey, this money will only be used for a scholarship fund,
right.
Similar to what's going on at Brown University.
Yeah, if they did that, I mean, I'd be willing to support that. I mean, I'm not.
I agree. I would too.
Yeah, I couldn't give $1 million, but I think that a lot of Morehouse graduates would be willing to support something like that, and it could hit the teens in terms of the amount of money that they could raise. Now, percentage wise, what's that mean for students with loans, and how much would that cover? I don't know, but I think that it would be a really good first step. I don't know. I mean,
I don't think it would cover that much because Morehouse, tuition and room and board.
Yeah, 2,000.
Roughly what?
So 2,000
students.
Yeah, 2,000 students. I don't know how much it is now. Oof. So you'd have to do
2,000. It's about 30,000.
2,000 times that, and then you also have to subtract because some people already have full scholarships. Some people already have partial. So then you have to subtract the amount of students who have scholarships and kind of take them off of there. And then you'd have to figure out who has loans, and then kind of average that out, and then so there's a lot of math in that, but I think that it would cover. I mean, hey, look, man, a $500 scholarship, you cutting off $500. That's something.
It's something better than nothing.
Yeah, it's better than nothing. So
you cover
books,
for books.
Yeah, something. So yeah, so I don't know, but just throwing that out there. But that's actually not what we're here to talk about. Funny enough, that's just a intro conversation. What we are actually here to talk about is something that's been trending all day, December 17th, 2017, and that has been the article that Cornel West wrote about Ta-Nehisi Coates. Now, Ta-Nehisi, my fault. I said there is no H in Ta-Nehisi. Oh, you know what? The H and the S. Ta-Nehisi, my bad. But anyway, Ta-Nehisi Coates. Excuse me, Coates. So for those unaware of what kind of happened, essentially Cornel West writes about Ta-Nehisi Coates being this neoliberal. So we're just going to go right into it, essentially. And basically,
the neoliberal face of the Black freedom struggle.
Yep, a neoliberal face of the Black freedom struggle. We can say the whole thing, right? It's like a Tribe Called Quest. No. but no. We'll just say neoliberal. Oh man. But yeah. So exactly. And essentially what that means is that he believes he calls Ta-Nehisi kind of an apologist, if you will. He talks about how he agrees with the fact that Mr. Coates does a really good job of identifying and criticizing, white supremacy in different systems.
Right.
However, he doesn't do a good job of talking about the fight back, right? He doesn't do a good job of talking about major issues such as, Wall Street greed, wars, and things like that. And as we go through the article, which I'll include the link as well. Essentially, Cornel West, just discusses that, talks about almost comparing him with Barack Obama and calling him a little bit of a political lackey, if you will, in that he doesn't, in that he's not as willing to respond to white supremacy actions as Cornel West feels as if he is.
And before you go on, Jaymie, let's make it clear too.
You sound a little fuzzy.
Let's make it clear too.
You sound like a little fuzzy.
I'm sorry.
Okay, there you go. Much better.
My speaker was messing up.
Yeah, much better.
Okay, let's point it out that Cornel West has also criticized Obama in the past
Right.
when he was running, and also before when he put his name for running, he criticized him. He called Obama a neo-Nazi opportunist.
Interesting.
And when you see he's calling Ta-Nehisi Coates Obama apologist, and he said he had no respect for Barack Obama. And these are the words of Michael Eric Dyson from a conversation that him and Cornel West had together, where he's telling him that's the difference between them two. He had no respect for Barack Obama. So can we correlate that to him calling
let's make that clear,
Coates
right?
apologist?
Well, let's make that
Okay,
clear
go ahead.
real quick. You said that Michael Eric Dyson said that Cornel West said that that's the difference between Michael Eric Dyson and
Michael.
Cornel West, and that is that
Correct.
Cornel West doesn't have respect for Barack Obama. That's
correct.
Yeah, okay. Let's make
Correct.
that clear. Yeah, just wanted to clarify that. Keep going. Keep going.
And this is if you can check out the article on newrepublic.com, and it's a piece by Michael Eric Dyson called "The Ghost of Cornel West." But with him calling Coates Obama apologist, could we correlate the fact that he doesn't have respect for Obama, also saying that he doesn't have respect for Coates as well?
It definitely.
Can you tie those two together?
So it's tough because he says that to in a room that we weren't a part of. I don't know if we take that at face value, right? And we say that Cornel West doesn't have respect for Barack Obama. So I don't know if we can go that far with Coates, simply because there's parts of this article that he writes on Coates where he says he is doing some things that are good, right? When he points out that whole white supremacy. However, there are points where I believe that those are kind of backhand compliments. But at the same time, perhaps I'm reading too much into that, and maybe these are legit compliments that he's giving Mr. Coates. So I don't think that there's enough in this article for us to say that he doesn't respect the man.
Okay.
But that could that could be a possibility. I would hope that you wouldn't write an article like this on someone you don't respect. But then again, people write articles on Donald Trump every day. That I'm sure they don't respect. So, and vice versa, right? And in terms of people, supporters of Trump, write articles about people they don't respect every day as well. So, but yeah, no, that's good question. That's a good question. So to follow that up though, one of the things we talked about this offline, and I'm definitely going to bring this up here, is throughout his article, he talks about Mr. Coates, talks about some of the things that he's not doing. He's not as aggressive against, or he's not talking about the fight back and what they're actually doing to make sure that white supremacy is destroyed and whatnot, yada yada. But at the very end, he talks about how he himself represents the radical wing of the Black freedom struggle. And he talks about how Ta-Nehisi Coates cannot be named the same. And when he called himself a part of the radical wing of the Black freedom struggle, I was confused, right?
Take it back, right?
Extremely confused, because I was confused at how a professor at Harvard, who spends most of his time writing books, and no, clear, I said most, right? Because he does every once in a while go out and raise awareness for something.
And do lectures.
Yeah, exactly. Does lectures, raise awareness for something. But I was confused as to how he could be a member of the radical wing of the Black freedom struggle. And
what do you mean by that?
In general, what do I mean by that? I mean, so in my opinion, when we're talking about the radical wing of the Black freedom struggle, we're talking Black militants, right? So we're talking Black militants, i.e., the people. There are groups right now who believe that a race war is imminent, and they're preparing themselves for that, right?
Okay, yeah.
There are groups out there like that, and their sole purpose behind that is to protect and ensure the freedom of Black Americans, right? For me, that is the
Hmm.
radical wing, right? That would be your old school Black Panther Party. That would be your classic Black Muslims, right? We have to protect ourselves.
I wouldn't say Black Panther Party. Say Black
Radical.
Muslims. And
Ra-
they okay.
well, remember, right? The whole purpose is I'm protecting myself and my family and my community, right?
Okay.
That's how that's
Okay,
how
I
I
got
view it.
you.
Yeah, and even if that involves like having weapons and whatnot, like that would be the radical wing, right? That would be the we're ready to go to war versus
Yeah. Okay.
the
I see what you're
non-radical
saying.
wing. Yeah, the non-radical wing, which would be we should never go to war with our fellow Americans, right? That should never
Hmm.
be an option. We should be talking about our differences. We should always be in conversation so that that doesn't happen. We should be looking for equality. Things like that. So radical versus non-radical, and I would definitely put Cornel West over in the ladder of the non-radical. So the fact that he believes he is a radical, I mean, it's kind of funny when I was reading through his biography. He even mentions about how he didn't join the Black Panther Party when he was in college because of his Christian values. How? But you're a
Hmm.
member of the Radical Party. Like I don't understand this. Like this
It
is
don't make sense.
yeah. Like
It doesn't add up.
yeah. Like I mean, you can change over time. Don't get me wrong. He's in his 60s now. I have been in his 20s. But still, the point is like he's acting like a non-radical, but he claims to be radical, which is well, he sits at Harvard. I just don't understand this. Surely you jest, right? Like this is I don't what are you doing? But yeah. So that's pretty much my thought on that particular piece. But you know, in that short explanation of this this article that Cornel West wrote, I definitely want to get your thoughts on the subject, Ray. And then I also want to touch upon some of the things that uh, Mr. Coates spoke about previously and kind of what this is stemming from and what's going on here. So, well, before what are your thoughts on the article?
No. Well, say for instance, when I saw Twitter, I saw how people were talking about, okay, Cornel West doesn't have a right to criticize Ta-Nehisi Coates. And at first, when we talked earlier, I thought the same thing because it's like, man, why is he doing this in the public's eye?
Yeah, right.
What's the point of this? What's the point of this? However, I thought it over, and I saw some other posts, and like I said, I thought it over and collected my thoughts. He has the right wholeheartedly to challenge this man, and he should challenge him. He brought up some sound points about Ta-Nehisi Coates. The fact that, okay, if you talk about how you your allegiance to Obama has reduced an impoverishment of understanding. Your allegiance to Obama. The fact of it is, okay, Barack Obama did this and that, but Cornel West points out, and I'm sorry about the mishap. I'm going crazy messing up with my words, but
No.
Cornel West brought up the fact. Granted, Obama did this and that, made black people look at political offices differently now. However, you do not criticize his actions in office. No, you have a valid point. We can't just praise a man without criticizing some of the actions and his wrongdoing. However, when West goes about criticizing Coates throughout this article, even though he has some valid points, West has never answered these questions in his writings as well. He talks about how can you, Coates said, how can you defy a power that insists on claiming you? West says that they claim you because you are silent on what is a threat to their order, the Wall Street and war. But the fact of it is, granted, yes, you're silent on those things, But if you don't have the full understanding of those things, why talk about them if you're not knowledgeable about them? So how can you criticize this man on not talking about these things? What if he's not knowledgeable about these things? What if in his eyesight there's more to it than just Wall Street and war? You're talking about the backings of what's putting us down. But he's talking about the system, so to say. The system that's been going on for year after year with the police brutality, people voter fraud, or just trying to get people not to vote. You have all these other issues, but you're criticizing me because I'm not talking about Wall Street. We have to fix the problems in the inner circle before we go outside of the inner circle and try to fix the problems going on in Wall Street. And I thought Cornel West was smart of a man to know that. We've been trying to fix this problem, this inner circle problem, for years. If we can't fix that problem, we can't fix Wall Street. We'll just be interfering, talking out the side of our neck. And I think that's what Cornel West is doing. And Cornel West, in my opinion, also, besides him criticizing Coates, I'm going to criticize Cornel West and say that he makes things overcomplicated. If you want to go about helping this movement on enlightening African Americans or just people of color, you have to know who you're talking to. And I think Coates understands that. I think West doesn't. I don't think he...
Yeah, no. I was just going to...
Go ahead, what were you going to say?
Because you said you don't think Cornel West understands...
who he's talking to, his base.
Right. I think...
Or does he care about it?
Yeah, I think he's suffering from the Jesse Jackson from the Jesse Jacksonness, right? I don't even know what to call it, where it's just you have these people who at one point were doing exactly what was needed for the black community and whatnot, but the black community isn't monolithic. I think that's how you say it, and at some point needs change, even for a community. And I think that's what's happened in so many ways for the black community, and yet you have these leaders that haven't changed with it. So still see America as the 70s and 80s. We need, A, B, and C. And, and this is how we get those solutions. But, the fact is...
One more thing, Jaymie.
Not do it. Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. What were you about to say?
No, the fact that Cornel West thinks it's appropriate for him to go about criticizing black leaders in the way he does, and particularly President Obama. He lost me there. You brought up the fact that you need that sandwich.
Yeah.
What is it, a sandwich?
Yeah. So the sandwich,
What is it, a sandwich argument? Or
yeah, well, it's just...
speech, whatever?
It's just it's a method that they teach, like, leaders, usually like bosses, how to get employees to, basically improve in, whatever they're doing, right? So the sandwich piece is basically the first thing you do is you tell them, how great they are, right? Just overall, you're doing a great job doing blah, 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 whatever it is. Then in the middle, after you get done praising them, in the middle you talk about some of the things that they're not good at. So yeah, you're doing a great job. However, you are missing in some of these areas. You're maybe you're not showing up on time every day. Maybe when your projects are coming along pretty well, but sometimes you don't finish them the way that I would like you to. But even though that's going on, then at the very end you talk about ways they can improve on the criticism that you've just given, right? So you start off with a positive, you're doing a great job. In the middle, you talk about some of the things that they're not good at, and then at the end, you talk about how they can improve them. And then you talk about end off again, talking about how great of a job they're doing. And then that's just pretty much it's just, hey, you're doing a great job. You come late. At work, you're doing a great job, Ray. Sometimes you come late at work. But that's okay as long as if you pick that up, you'll be doing a phenomenal job, and I really believe you can do it. And I think overall you're doing a great job. So just just pick up on that area, and I think you'll be perfect.
And that's what I think Coates should have did when it came to Ta-Nehisi Coates. Not
You mean what West
that
should have
nice.
done? What West should have done when it comes to
West, I'm sorry,
Coates?
what West
So
West to Ta-Nehisi. West should have done the cutting
right. So what
and
I was gonna
Obama.
say
He
is,
should have criticized him.
well, what I wanted to
Criticize him, but also give him construction criticism.
I get that, but what I was gonna say beforehand is that I think West thinks that he's past that. I think he believes that he has the respect of the community, and that he's on such a level that he doesn't have to do that.
See, that's why I think he's misguided. Because Ta-Nehisi Coates is that new Cornel West, so to say, that new figure who has the voice of the people. West doesn't have that the voice of the people anymore.
I'm actually not a fan of Coates, but outside of that,
I
the
mean, I
one article
understand
he
that,
did,
but
yeah,
he has a big voice in the community right now.
he does.
And I'm not just saying in the black community. I'm saying on a global scale, he has that voice.
That one I don't know.
And people actually listen to him.
Yes, true.
Not saying they listen to him, but I'm saying not saying they agree with him.
But they
you still
respect
gonna
his
have people that
opinion.
criticize him.
Yeah, they respect his opinion.
Exactly. West is fading away.
I think he's
And
already.
is he doing these?
I think he's already gone.
Go ahead.
I think Cornel West.
Oh, you think he's gone?
Yeah, I think he is 100% in the Al Sharpton. Can't really say for Jesse Jackson, but I know for a fact he's in the Al Sharpton kind of.
I don't know about Al
situation.
Sharpton, man.
Well,
Al Sharpton still has
but no.
a voice that.
Well, let me finish my point. Yeah, he's in that Al Sharpton.
I'm sorry, man.
No, you good.
Cutting you off.
No, you fine. He's in that Al Sharpton Avenue in that people bring him in to stir up or continue controversy at this point, right? They're not asking him for his opinion. They're asking him for controversy.
Okay.
And that's where he is now. And I don't think he understands, because you got to understand, like, when you're in the black community and you're promoting, black issues, and not but promoting black issues, but, you're talking about how can the black community become better. You have to understand that there is still a dominant society out there, and they're going to portray you the way that they want to. And if they feel as if there's a certain situation that comes on and they want to flame certain views and they want to flame up that controversy, they're going to bring you on. And it's the reason why, I really, understand this a little bit better is through Tariq Nasheed, which, I told you about before. But, I was listening. I don't agree with everything he says, but I was listening to one of his podcasts, and he was like, he basically says, I know who I am. Like, I know why they bring me on to these conservative talk and these liberal talk shows, which, by the way, he's not a fan of either side. So I don't understand why people call him a liberal. But anyway, I digress on that. But yeah, he's like, hey, look, I'm here to, whenever situation happens that involves race, they basically bring me in and, let the controversy begin. Basically, I mean, I'm summarizing it. But he understands who he is. And I think that a lot of people, like you said, like Cornel West, are a little bit misguided in that they think that they're in the cult's role, but they are no longer in the cult's role. They are in another role where they're strictly brought in for the Al Sharpton, for this thing that just happened against black people. What do you think, West? Because we know you're going to give us a sound bite that we can play, and it's going to make people have an opinion. And we don't really care about what you really think. Yeah.
And it kind of, the fact of it is, Malcolm X talked about it. You need someone of that race to criticize another man of that race in order to make it feel legitimate. Or to say, okay, we have a stamp on it. We're going to try to put this guy down. So granted, we're going to get the older political figure, bring him in, let him voice his opinions, and let's see what happens. Let's see him fight it out in public. And it sucks.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think you just need, granted, he has some disagreements about Coates, and he should voice his disagreements. Now, he's not talking about any personal matters or anything like that, but this has to be more constructive criticism. Help this brother get better.
I mean, that,
help him get better. Don't just break him down and just say basically you're done with him. Why don't you influence them?
Yeah.
Like with Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, why not bring up other people with you?
I mean, we
Now,
had
Al
that
Sharpton has
we had that
admitted
conversation already.
that he said.
What'd you say?
Well, I mean, well, let me say this. Al Sharpton admitted he has brought people up with him. He said, he's working with other people. He's working with younger people, and he's bringing them along the way. Cool. I may not see it. We may not see it, but to his point, it may be happening.
I mean, what does that mean?
But with Jesse, it's like the fact of it is you're not trying to influence the younger generation of political figures or socialists or activists. You're just steady trying to break them down and just wipe away their voice.
Yeah, I mean, it was one thing that you did just mention there. If Ta-Nehisi Coates is the new Cornel West. Hello?
You said he is a new Cornel West?
I said if, because I believe that's what you just said.
Yeah, okay.
He's basically on that.
Yeah.
And we're not saying in terms of ideology. We're just saying in terms of the black, I don't know, philosopher, if you will.
Yeah, figurehead. Yeah,
the nationally recognized black philosopher.
No, you're right. The philosopher.
Yeah, if he is that next guy, then 100%. I get where you're coming from when you're talking about this article is essentially unnecessary, right? And it does nothing but a disservice to the black community and their goals. So I understand that logic behind that. I have to think through that because I never considered Coates as the new, great black philosopher. I got to think through that a little bit more, but it does raise a lot of interesting discussions and thoughts. But no, that's actually a really good one. I mean, but no, with the other ones, I mean, I feel like we've been talking about those other parts for years and years and years and years, and which is the whole Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, they don't know how to bring anyone up behind them. And in my opinion, that's been one of the. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but in my opinion, that is the key to a great leader is their ability to build up. Is a great leader, in my opinion, is what doesn't happen under your leadership, but what happens after, right? So if your organization or country or whatever can continue to flourish and even grow after you've gone,
right.
that means that just speaks to your leadership and just how great of a leader
Right.
you are. Because if anybody can lead from the front, right? It's not easy, but leading from the front is a lot easier than leading from behind. And I think that that's something that, in particular, the black community has a tough time doing. It's ironic that in the article, Cornel West talks about how he believes Ta-Nehisi Coates this is just a play for a power grab just for him, and then he doesn't, and so that he just wants to have the power and not actually do something with it. He just wants power for power's sake. I think that's ironic, seeing as how that's how a lot of people feel about Cornel West and the Jesse Jacksons and the Al Sharptons, whether fair or not. That's how a lot of people feel, especially in our generation. But regardless, what I will say is that I do think that is the mark of a leader, which is after you're gone, can your organization be as great, and not even only as great, but greater after you leave? Right? Say what you will about the great, the founding fathers of America. After they died, America got better because they established those ideals. Yeah.
Established the Constitution.
Yeah. Like I'd say definitely the Constitution, but I would just say they established the ideals of what America is, right? And the people took it and they made America even greater. And it's okay to argue over what those ideals meant, even for today, right? It's okay for the black community to argue about what's going to make us great, but that shouldn't, things like this shouldn't happen, right? Where it shouldn't be pulling us down. It should be making us it should be somehow making.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're not making him better. You're not helping Coates out at all. You're just downing him.
Yeah,
and what are you accomplishing? What is this article accomplishing?
Yeah, how's it making the black community better that you're the radical part of the Black Freedom Caucus. Like, how does this help the radical wing of the Black Freedom Caucus?
Like, and then also with Coates, what have your writings and your lectures done to improve the fight against Wall Street or the fight outside of the Black community?
Is that even one of his?
What had?
Is that even on his agenda to fight Wall Street? Why? I don't understand. Maybe because I interned on Wall Street. Maybe that's why. Like, I don't understand. Like, I get what people think about Wall Street, but like, if you're talking about like that type of power level, like it's those type of power play is bigger than Wall Street. Like,
I don't know, man.
it is though. Like, it's. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna.
I mean, I agree. I agree with you on that. That
yeah,
it's
like,
bigger than Wall Street.
If you take down Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, and name another bank, whatever, you don't think somebody else is gonna take their place? Some new guy is gonna take their place and be just as powerful and do things just as the same, just under a new guy?
Yeah,
like, yeah,
like it's exactly.
Yeah, like it's not like I get where people are coming from, but it's not. There's an entire system that has been built that has ensured that power will stay with certain types of individuals, and you can't separate it by industry. It goes, in my opinion, deeper than industry, right? Like, and you can't. It's so embedded. Like, it's like, for example, as we saw, if you take down Wall Street, everybody goes down, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not. I don't understand that Cornel West logic. I don't understand. Because I don't. What is the end goal of taking down Wall Street?
I don't think it's well thought out either.
Yeah,
I think it's just okay. Let me say this. It's like the fact I want to criticize this man, but I gotta give some points to make it better. I don't know. It doesn't add up. It doesn't.
Yeah, man. Like,
but I mean, to each his own. He had to say something, but
yeah, it sounds
next time
good,
when
right?
you say it,
yeah, everybody,
help the brother out, man.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. It sounds good. It's let's take down the people at power because they're not doing a good job with it, and they're ensuring, and they're making sure that everybody else is poor. All the money's going to the rich. We need to take them down. I get it. It sounds great.
And if you're gonna say that too, make sure you give us a game plan and a step-by-step solution on how to do that.
Exactly. Which, in Cornel West I'm giving him, a huge assumption here, but I'm sure he's thought it out. I would hope and pray to God he's 60 now. He's been at this for a long time. I would pray he has some sort of idea on how to make this happen. He just didn't articulate that in the article. But I will say that Coates, and when we're talking about the other article that I sent you over, Coates makes it very clear that he's new at this and he's just giving his opinions on certain things that are happening, although he may not have the full laid out plan for Black America. So he's basically learning on the job. Mr. Coates is, but he is giving, although I don't agree with everything he says, he has given some interesting insights. For example, that the first white president, when he discusses Donald Trump, which, very interesting. Some of it I agree with, some of it I didn't, but it was interesting, and he definitely is, I feel, going to give more thoughts like that, which is good, right? That's what we need. There's always a place for Ta-Nehisi Coates, but yes,
yeah, definitely.
Yep. So with that being said, I guess that's pretty much it from us. I appreciate you listening to our thoughts. As always, like, follow, subscribe, and leave a comment. And sorry for taking so long to have this conversation. Hopefully, it won't take so long again. But thanks for listening, and have a good day or night or week.
And thanks, everybody.
And if we don't talk to you guys beforehand, Happy New Year and all that stuff. What's so funny?
She said, "Have a good day, a night, a week."
Hey man, whatever you doing, whatever you doing. But all right, that's pretty much it from us. Thank you for listening, and have a good one.